Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of For What It's Nerd. As you can see, we're doing something slightly different today, and I kind of promised I wouldn't make this into a content thing. I don't know if it's going to be, but I kind of wanted to do some painting today whilst I talk to you. I thought it'd be a nice little bit of a visual stimulus for anyone watching on YouTube. Now, obviously, if you're not watching on YouTube, that's okay too. I'm still going to be talking, so don't worry. It's not like a thing where you're not going to be able to understand what's going on. But I thought I'd do a little bit of painting today. This comes off the back of the end of the Marvel United Season 3 Kickstarter. And to be honest, I've wanted to kind of do some kind of mini painting for a while since the season 1 of Marvel United. But I was struggling with it, to be honest. I kind of didn't know where I was starting, what I was doing. I was worried that I was going to mess them up. And because with Marvel United, a lot of it is how do I put it? It's exclusive, so it's like Kickstartery. It's you only get it once, and obviously a little bit of FOMO there. I don't want to ruin one of my minis and then have an issue where I can't going forward do anything with them because of that. So that's my kind of where I'm at with, or was at with, painting. And so I was kind of like, well, how do I get over this? How do I how do I get over this? I was looking into it, trying to like learn first so that I could go from there. So I kind of went overboard, as I usually do with these things. And I went to, and I got a whole set of paints, as you can kind of see here, again, for those watching on YouTube. But I went and got some Army Painter speed paints. Now, these are apparently really good for people who are kind of just getting into painting and also don't want to do massive, like they don't want to be like the next best painter of minis, so to speak. So I was very hype about that. I thought that would be a really cool entry point for me. I've already made some mistakes, with priming and certain stuff like that, and I've had to like kind of get some paint stripper, and these ones I haven't touched before, but a few others I tried Luke Cage, I tried Venom, and I messed up a little bit in places because I wasn't being patient and I wasn't kind of waiting and seeing what would happen. So I kind of had an issue where I was kind of I need to learn the timings and the patience aspect of the hobby, so to speak. But I'm very happy with what I've learned so far. And one thing that I did manage to do, was I managed to complete a Daredevil, which I'm relatively speaking happy with. He is kind of the real litmus test of what I could do and where I felt I was going with these paints. Now, he's not perfect by any estimation, but that's okay, because it's not about that. It's about trying to learn the craft, so to speak. And there's so many great resources out there. I never really realized. I mean, I knew it was big. I knew Warhammer was big, etc. But I never really realized like how much resources are out there for kind of getting into painting. Primarily armies, obviously, for Warhammer. That's what you find more than not. But in general. And so I kind of joined the Marvel United Discord, and I'm looking in there, and I'm trying to learn stuff, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm trying to just kind of see how I can kind of go with it, see what I'm kind of able to achieve. So what we're going to try and do is at the moment, Kingpin. I've primed him in just a white, an Army Painter primer. Some people say obviously you do a Zenithal prime of it, so that's like you do black, you kind of go into a grey, and then you do a white over it. I'm kind of not confident with that. I did that on the first pass, and it went a little bit awry for me. I didn't put enough of didn't get enough of a grey in between, so I had a lot of issue with color, and color kind of just reverting back to a black. And that's okay. I think as well, the black really worked for like if I was doing darker stuff. So if I was doing my Marvel Zombies, which I might do eventually, that would be perfect. Like the black would really allow those darker colors to subsist on the minis. But I'm trying to kind of get almost like a very vibrant feel with these characters. What I'm doing right now. So I want to make sure that I'm getting like bright colors through. And so with that, obviously, I'm trying to go for something a little bit more what the white gives on its own, and with the contrast, not contrast, sorry, I've been watching a lot of videos and they talk about contrast paints as well. With the speed paints, what you actually get is you get a lot of contrast in it. Like, for example, Holy White is not actually white. I had to learn this the hard way. Holy White is a grey. And the reason for that is because it's trying to emulate what you'll have in those darker spaces of the white, if that makes sense. So whilst this is not wholly white, I think someone said online when I was reading up about it, they said it's more morally ambiguous white. And I feel that it's a grey. For example, if I show you guys a little bit, obviously again for those on YouTube, it comes out and it does come out this kind of grey color, as you'll see there. But yeah, it's all a phase. It's learning, you know, it's learning, and frankly, I'm excited to see what I can achieve with this going forward. And you know, it's something relaxing for me. I when I was doing it the other day, I was kind of getting this feeling of like, oh wow, I'm actually really enjoying this. I don't know why I'm using a small brush. That's the wrong type of brush there. I don't want to be using a small brush. I want to be using a larger brush. But yeah, it was this thing of like, oh my gosh, this is actually something that I could really enjoy. And so what, like, how do I go about like getting better at this? You know, how would I go about being good at this? And so it's a case of just, I think, getting into it and just trying, getting your hands dirty with it. And you know, even if it's like minis that you are scared about getting wrong, obviously some people say to get some knockoff minis, like some cheap minis to try out first. And I can see where they're coming from with that. But for me personally, I don't really have an interest in that because I only really want to paint my Marvel minis, right? So if I'm not painting my Marvel minis, then it's kind of pointless, right? For me, which I know sounds sort of silly. Like if I care that much, I need a bit more of that holy white. If I really care that much about my minis, why am I worried if I'm painting ones that aren't necessarily like what I'm doing? And the thing is with that is that the way I see it personally is that if I'm trying to get a sort of grip on it, I want to get a grip with something that I enjoy. With, you know, for example, painting someone like Kingpin or painting someone like Daredevil, I don't think I would have the same interest in sort of the hobby, so to speak, if I wasn't doing it with characters that I was sort of interested in as a whole. Also, paints are expensive. Is something that I learned very quickly. Paints are very expensive, and I will still make mistakes, and that's okay. And I'm trying to learn that. I'm trying to learn that mistakes are okay. Mistakes are fine. That's the real thing to learn from this. And just be careful and be tactical and think about what you're doing. And sometimes even if you are thinking about what you're doing, think again. Which sounds silly to say, but it's true. I found that I feel like I know what I'm doing with it, with a certain color or a certain aspect of one of these models, and then I don't, and it messes it up. So I'm really trying not to do that this time. I'm trying to be a little bit more careful. Now, I don't know if the camera's picking up what I'm doing particularly well, and I am kind of holding it back. So if it comes out, that's more on me than the camera, so to speak. But yeah, I have a big interest in this now, suddenly, and I'm hoping it comes out well. I hope Wilson Fisk looks his regal self. A little bit darker than what I wanted, but I'm hoping it comes out looking a little bit better than this. But we shall see. It does dry a bit better than you'd expect. I think that's what I need to learn. I need to learn that, you know, sometimes it might not look good whilst you're painting it, but afterwards it comes out a lot better than you'd think. And if not, you can apply a little bit more then. But generally not before. Try not to do it before. That's where I'm kind of at with it at the moment. I'm trying to learn, I promise. But it's nice. It's a nice hobby, and like I was saying earlier about like relaxing whilst I was doing it. I had a whole scenario the other day where I was like painting for like 3 hours, and I did not look at the time. I did not touch my phone, which is big because I am a big phone toucher. A big phone toucher. I know it sounds very weird to say, but there you go. I am. Especially because I play a lot of mobile games. So mobile games are very hard because what you do, like when it's time for you to like sign in for your rewards, you're gonna sign in for those rewards. Funnily enough, I've got to be honest. If this comes out a little bit too dark, I don't know if that's not being picked up by the camera too well, but this comes out a little bit too dark. I don't know. I think maybe we'll go over it with a white, maybe just to lighten it back up. I don't know. We'll see. I might be like add some like highlights to make it a little bit better. But that's my first coat of like the grey on his suit. Kind of picks it up the camera a little bit, but not perfectly. And there's a few little bits that I'm missing on his ankles, actually. Well, not his ankles, but the seam of his suit, so to speak. But yeah, so it's a process, and I'm learning, and that's all okay. That's the point, right? That's the point. And but I've got to be honest. I'm enthralled by just watching people do it. I didn't think it would be something that I'd be interested in, but I'm fundamentally enthralled by watching people paint. Like it's just crazy. It's crazy to me because I never thought of it as something that I would be interested in. But now I can't leave it alone. I literally the other day I watched like 3 people like do full paints, and I was like, wow. And to be honest, so I listen to ASMR every so often because I have a lot going on in my headspace more than not. And I was actually looking for mini painting ASMR at the end. So I was like, that would be really fun. That'll be really exciting to do. Like kind of cross the streams, so to speak, of 2 of the things I really enjoy. And so, yeah, I'm experimenting right now, trying new things. I think that's the whole kind of area that I am in as a person right now, but also as a creator as well. Obviously not just in regards to minis, etc., but you know, overall. Oh, I do think that's a little bit darker than I'd like, but I'm going to let that soften, and sorry, not soften, but let that resolve, so to speak. And what we'll do instead is, I think we'll tackle his skin next. Skins are one that I'm having a lot of issue with, especially face. Face is where I struggle a lot, primarily because I'm worried that I'm going to like not hit the eyes correctly, and then if I don't hit the eyes correctly, what's going to happen then? Because you could mess that up really big time, very easily. Funnily enough, I didn't think you would be able to, but you can really mess up with skin color. Which I suppose, thinking about it, a lot of people do mess up with skin color as regards like what's it called, like painting in general. A lot of people can miss skin colors. I'm trying to find my skin color and I can't find it. Where is it? There we go. Crusader skin. I both hate and love the names because you've got like stuff like Crusader skin, Magic blue. You've got Absolution green. It's like some of them are like they're so on point of what they are. Like blue magic. Get it? I get it. I see it. I vibe with that. But also, what's Absolution green? What's that mean? Why is green absoluting me? But anyway, yeah, I've got to be honest. It's my new favorite thing to do. I'm obsessed with it. I'm taking it a little bit far. I will accept that. I will agree with that. But at the same time, that's okay. Sometimes you're allowed to have like a crazy desire for things, right? A crazy like interest in things, and that's kind of where I am, and that's kind of what I'm doing, and that is what it is. But yeah, I'm happy with how things are with my level. I think that's the thing. I had a lot of issue where I was like, how do I make this really good? And I realized I can't. Not in a horrible way, not in a way of like, oh my gosh, you're like absolutely terrible, but in the way of like, I'm not going to be able to make, like, it's not going to happen to where I can get some. I do have, and this is what I did have to get as a little side point. I did have to get some Vallejo white. This is apparently a really good white from what I've seen on the internet. Now, it could be wrong, I could be really misinformed, but a lot of people are saying this is a really good white. Also, in case anyone who is particularly good at painting is watching this, I'm sorry, first of all. Second of all, please don't judge me for using a hard palette. I've been told that as regards speed paints, a hard palette is more correct. Now, obviously, that might be wrong. Some people might still use a wet palette. I don't know. But from what I've seen, is when you're using a wet palette, what you actually get is a lot of staining. That's a really good color there for the pink, the skin color there. I'm quite happy with that actually. We will change to a slightly smaller brush though, because I don't want to mess that up. Actually, you know what? We'll do a first pass with this one. I think it should be okay. I think it should be okay. So I'm really scared, but here we go. Oh, that's actually quite. That looks quite good actually. Probably the color I want, but yeah. So if I'm doing it wrong, I'm sorry, but that's what the internet told me. Which is, to be honest, is probably my answer to most things in life. I'm sorry, that's what the internet told me. The internet has never well, I was going to say the internet's never steered me wrong before, but that's incorrect. The internet has very much steered me wrong before. But this time, maybe not. The internet has been a great resource for this, and to be honest, I really like the community surrounding it. Like, you can tell that people like really want to like help each other with it, because like all the replies, like I was on Reddit for like ages looking at like what people were saying, like how do you do this, how do you do that, and like loads of people were like being really helpful. It was crazy. It was really nice to see actually, because I feel like with a lot of communities, like when people get into something that people like really kind of go in on them and like, you're doing this all wrong and you're the worst, and you know, all that type of stuff. And I didn't feel that here. I felt like, wow, there's people who really want people to get into painting minis. But I mean, obviously, I'm not clued up on this, so I could be wrong. But it does seem like, as regards Warhammer, that you kind of do need to paint, even if it's just base colors, because it's like, I mean, again, I could be wrong. I'm just picking up what I've kind of gained from the conversations that, well, not conversations that I've had, but conversations that I've seen, so to speak. And people were saying like, oh, well, the thing is, you really need to be, you really need to do it anyway, because to play, you kind of want a uniform army that you can see and interact with, and in like a correct way towards what the gameplay you're doing. But that it's not the end of the world if you don't. That skin color's actually come out. Oh my gosh, I'm really happy. Oh my gosh, that skin color's come out near perfect. I don't know if I maybe have done this slightly wrong. I think maybe it's meant to be his cravat rather than his neck, but I'm very happy with that. That's come out quite well. I know it doesn't come up quite as well on the image, but yeah, I'm very happy with that actually. The suit hasn't come out quite as much as I'd like quite as nice as I'd like, but the skin has actually come out quite well, which I'm really, really happy about, because I was really worried. I was really worried about that. It's funny because I don't know whether it's just my model, but this Kingpin looks like he only has an eye on one side. If that's just like the paint getting in the way. Yeah, it's a little bit of the paint getting in the way. It's okay. It's okay. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. Like, not to toot my own horn, guys. Not to toot my own horn. That looks quite good. I'm quite happy with that. But yes, so I actually had some decent results in my first pass. I was doing Groot to begin with, and I thought Groot will be pretty easy, a few different base colors, but generally he's like one color, right? Like, yes, you need to go over with certain other colors, but nothing major. I was slightly wrong. I will admit, I was slightly wrong, because I found that, again, because I primed in black and then did a little bit of like trying to do a Zenithal thing, it didn't work quite as well as I'd like. Sorry. But it didn't turn out too badly. Also, I'm going to need to do a little bit of purple, because Kingpin does have a little bit of purple in his cravat and his like not neckerchief, but like his pocket hanky. I do think we're going to go in with a smaller brush for this one though, because this is like fine detail. So I got like a decent set of brushes. Specifically, I got brushes that were like, I got ones that weren't too expensive, because I didn't want to get anything crazy expensive and kind of break the bank for what is essentially just like a pet project. But also, I got some with actual paints as well, which is really good. But primarily, the idea was to get something that was like manageable. So I got a few different brushes, and I'm quite happy with them. I maybe got too much purple out for this, but okay. Okay. And yeah, so I was very happy with. I'm happy with most of my purchases, to be honest. I don't feel like I don't think like, how do I put this? I feel like I'm the one failing the medium rather than the medium failing me, if that makes sense. I feel like I just need to learn how to use the failing is maybe a bit strong, but you know what I mean. Like I need to learn how to use these things now. I don't feel like I'm being let down by the medium. Now that's okay on the neckerchief, but it does go around. In the image I've got, it does go around, which is kind of more finicky. But I'm kind of scared. I'm kind of scared to do it, to be honest, because it's like right in between. But I think we can get it. Yeah, we can get it. Like if you see, it's like right in between. Like for those watching again on YouTube, it's right in between the like. This is the thing. I haven't got very steady hands, and I get impatient. This is very much a task in patience to me. I hope I kind of learn it because I feel like this is something I could really get into, you know, which is nice because basically backstory for me. You guys are getting some backstory time. I did art at secondary school. Secondary school being sort of high school equivalent for those from the countries. And I'll be honest, I loved it, but I got a lot of there was a lot of not trauma is the wrong word, but like there's a lot of resentment there because I felt like I was a decently good artist, so to speak. I felt I did quite good. I felt like I got like the proportions generally right, but like also tried to do artistic things because you know you're in an art class. Where else are you going to be creating? You know, and I felt like more than not I was kind of I don't want to say berated. Berated is the wrong word, but I wasn't. My teacher didn't receive me kindly. Let me put it that way. And what I mean by that is, gosh, is that cravat okay? It's pretty okay. Pretty okay. But I was kind of seen as going against the grain. That was kind of me and a few of my classes, to be honest. Not that I wasn't, you know, I did try and I was a child who kind of I did care about being academic, but if I saw something as fundamentally flawed, I would say as much. And I feel like that got me a lot of issues, especially in my art class, because my art teacher wanted things done a certain way, and she definitely had her favorites as well. And that's no issue. That happens. That happens with every teacher. But that thing of, well, what do I do with this, right? Because like, how do you manage a teacher that is fundamentally against the way you want to do things? And you don't, frankly. You just kind of you have to deal with it, which isn't nice because you know you see things differently to they do, and but they have the authority, so to speak, and you know that's a whole different thing. But what I'm trying to say is fundamentally is that I had a bit of an issue with the way my teacher went about it with me. But in the end, you know, I knew I was decent at art, but just I never really had the chance. But I left it for a lot of years because of that, because I was kind of almost jaded to it. I felt like I'd been kind of, I don't want to say let down by the system because that sounds silly, but let down by the system, so to speak. You know? That's not going to go on. I think I'll that bit. I'm gonna have to get in. Oh, Kingpin's shoes are really awkward because they're right down the bottom, but like there's so much other model going on, and he only has just black shoes. He doesn't have like black anything else. Well, apart from his shirt. But so you've got to be really careful because you're just wanting to hit his shoe, which actually I'm managing. Funny enough, there you go. This is like more precision than most games I play. I feel like I could snipe someone across a map easier than I could hit some of these points on this mini. Gosh, stressful. I don't know how people do it with so much precision. Like, I know obviously they'll get like steady hands from practicing, etc. But like, I don't have that. But the things some people do is envious, to be honest. Like, you wonder how they manage it. Now, sorry that I'm moving the mini out of frame. I'm trying to like get really close to it so I can kind of get get on it, so to speak. Like I'm having to do some of this semi-blind. In fact, I could turn it around that way, kind of get there. Gosh. So I'm trying to get into that shoe. You guys can see I've painted so far, but it's difficult. Difficult. Like, again, I'm sorry for those on other platforms listening to this. I hope I've given you some insight as to what I'm doing, but just today I want to try something a little bit different. It might not be something that we continue doing. It might be this one-off. But I really wanted to paint, and I really wanted to talk about painting, and I really wanted to do my For What It's Nerd episode, so the three kind of came together, and already I've messed this up because I got some black on there. Yeah, but that should be good. I also forgot about his skin, which is like black as well, which is good. I believe that works out. And it's probably the easiest thing on the Mini to actually hit everything off. So thank you, Kingpin, for having a can. Thank you for holding it away from yourself rather than right here next to your body or something like that. I'll just ruin my day. Thanks, Kingpin. I think that's what I need to learn, though. I think I need to learn what kind of mistakes I can make and what kind of mistakes need to be kind of looked at, if that makes sense. Because some of these I feel like are things that you can definitely recover from, and some of these I feel like you can't very easily, so to speak. But I feel I'm getting more patient with it. I feel like I'm getting more into what it's meant to be about, and hopefully that's enough to where I can achieve something good with it. Well, I am gonna finish his shoe, and then I think, oh, I need some water. What I've learned with these paints is that speed paints reactivate a lot. And so what you really want to do is make sure that you're not letting it activate. And so the idea with that is A, use as little water as possible. B, also use as little water as possible. Is the kind of the agreed idea of how to avoid speed paint, so to speak. But it's hard. It's hard because you're used to, with a lot of painting, you're used to the idea that you're meant to do. You're meant to, what's the word? You're meant to, I've lost my words. You're meant to use water, right? Like, so like I was going to say I'm trained. I'm not trained, but I trained myself for a long time. I was using a lot of watercolors, which arguably by the name, funnily enough, they use a lot of water. And so I'm in that headspace where I'm painting, like I should be watercoloring. And so you get this weird thing where like, yeah, you should be watercoloring it. So I kind of, I'm trying to stick away from it, but it's harder than one might think. And obviously you've still got to clean your brush. So if you don't clean your brush, you're just mixing all the colors together, and you might as well just paint everything grey, or brown, whatever the end color is of mixing all colors together. But yeah, so it's like this weird thing of like, well, what do you do? How do you achieve this? So you've really got to be careful with your brushes and take that time and think about it. And I don't necessarily do that. I'm not that type of person, generally speaking. So I'm trying to get there, and I don't know if I am yet, but I'm trying. I'm going to give Kingpin a second wash on his skin. Kind of get like in there, get like some of the other bits that we missed maybe the first time round. I'm going to clean that up a little bit, and just kind of hit anywhere that might accidentally knocked when we were going through before. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the suit has kind of come out a bit jank. But overall, I don't think it's a first bad pass. I think he's relatively looking pretty good. And, you know, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm trying to do. That's where I'm trying to feel like I can achieve what I can achieve with hands. And, you know, it's going to take time, and sometimes I'm going to do stuff wrong. And Luckily, I do have BioStrip 20, which apparently has been recommended. It's been recommended to me relatively frequently as regards this. So I'm hoping that I'll continue to have success, obviously. But if I don't, at least I've got the stuff to be able to. I hope that colours same, look similar, slightly lighter. I need to start noting down colours as well. That's one thing I haven't done so far, and I feel like it's maybe a mistake. But there you go. Let's head here. A little bit more of a covering on that. I'm gonna have to go over the purple as well again, but now I feel like I'm doing really well for what it is. For what it is, which is being me basically being able to play with them, have them look like a character, which is the main thing, fundamentally. You need to be careful of keeping things like that. Look, I'm losing a bit. It's hard because it's like in a recess, which obviously difficult to kind of achieve sometimes, especially with these speed paints, because they do kind of go into the nooks and crannies very easily. But I think we'll survive with that, and I think that'll dry out okay anyway. So yeah, I think that's a good first start. I am going to leave that there for this kind of episode of For What It's Nerd. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. If you guys want to see more painting content or other things like this, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week for another episode. We will be discussing next week. I will be able to tell you this ahead of time. We will be discussing Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania with spoilers. So if you guys are interested in that, come back next week for more Marvel stuff. Thank you guys as always for listening and watching. I'll see you next time.